Have you ever felt like your portfolio is trapped in a loop where all of your stocks move in the same direction? Well, you're not alone. It's great when everything is moving higher together, but when you've traded too many oil stocks or too many gold stocks or too many tech stocks, those down days can be painful. In fact, many traders hit this wall because they overlook the hidden correlations between certain stocks, essentially doubling down on the same type of position without even realizing it. In this video, discover how PowerX Optimizer can help you uncover those correlations to help you build a smarter, more diversified portfolio that doesn't move in sync but moves your profits forward. So let's take a look here at the wheel analyzer. And to understand market correlations, we have a tool that will help us identify stocks that are highly correlated, which essentially means that we could expect them to move in a very similar way. So for a highly correlated stock, if one stock is up 1%, you can expect the other stock to be up about a percent as well. Or the opposite is true. If a stock is down a percent and there's a highly correlated stock in your portfolio, you could expect the highly correlated stock to be down a percent as well. So if everything's moving up, it feels great. But if everything's moving down, you could be taking on more risk by not paying attention to your market correlations. So we have a tool here that will help us understand what these correlations look like. And we could access it with this icon here to the right of the ticker symbol in the wheel analyzer. This icon here, we see the pop-up reads compare asset correlation of this symbol with others. We could click on this. We could also access this tool by clicking on tools and selecting asset correlation. Now here you could enter two or more symbols based on the portfolio that you have. And this works for building a dividend portfolio, or if you have some longer term investments, you could use this tool. If you're trading the wheel strategy, I still like the idea of minimizing correlations between certain stocks because I'd like to have a little diversification. I don't want my success for the day to be completely driven by a certain sector. So here I have a few different stocks all together, and we see the symbols below and this shading here that lets us quickly visualize where there might be some symbols that are more correlated. And right now, Schlumberger, the ticker SLB, stands out with a correlation of 0.84 compared to Halliburton. So Halliburton and Schlumberger are highly correlated. Now, how do I know this? Well, the software is doing the work for me, but what I'm looking for as a warning would be a correlation of zero point 0.5 or higher. That catches my attention. And I don't want all of the stocks in my portfolio, if I'm trading the wheel strategy or managing a long-term portfolio, I don't want all of the stocks in the portfolio to have a correlation of 0.5. I might want to take something that has a lower correlation, which stands out with this green shading with a reading below 0.5. But what really starts to be a concern is when I see that there is a reading of 0.65 or higher. So Schlumberger SLB has a very high correlation to Halliburton. For some of you that are familiar with oil and gas stocks, that might come as to no surprise. But for others, without using this tool, you might not even realize that Schlumberger is highly correlated to Halliburton or that EOG is highly correlated with a reading of 0.72, right? Another thing that you might see from time to time is a stock that you believe is highly correlated, right? Maybe you think, Apple being a big stock in, is going to have a high correlation to. Well, let's pull up something else. Let's look at Google. So if I add Google to the mix, and maybe you're looking at this and thinking, okay, Google, Apple, maybe they have a high correlation, but they actually have a correlation of 0.49. So for me, that wouldn't be much of a concern because yes, there's a little bit of a correlation, but it doesn't get to this extreme here. Now, just for complete clarification, a reading of 1 means that the correlation is perfect. So you could expect the same move to happen in two different stocks. Correlation of zero means that there really is no correlation. There tends to be some correlation in most stocks because the markets tend to move up together or down together. And a reading of -1, which you really don't see very often, but is possible, is an inverse correlation. So with an inverse correlation, if a stock is up 1%, a perfect inverse correlation would mean that the other stock with an inverse correlation is going to be down 1%. So that's how to use this tool. And again, to summarize it, I, as a warning, would look at readings of 0.5 or higher. For me, 0.65 is where I start to be concerned, especially if it means that a large percentage of my portfolio is too heavy in a certain sector. So this is how to use PowerX Optimizer and the asset correlation tool to help minimize risk with your portfolio. Oh, by the way, we're just getting started with this channel. If you're new, please subscribe and like this video, but also take a look at some of the other videos that we have. This channel is going to be filled with all sorts of tips and tricks that you could use with PowerX Optimizer, but just some education to become a better trader in general. So please like and subscribe.